Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from, and welcome to the live Q&A. Which number is it? Number 8. I mean, number 7. No, it's number 8. Of course, it's number 8. Welcome along, everyone. I hope you are all well. I hope that you're all having a fantastic day, whether your day is beginning or it's in the middle or it's at the end. Hopefully, this brings great joy to your day. So I'd like people to get involved in the chat. Tell me where you're from. Tell me where you're from. Tell me exactly what you do. What do you do? Do you do a particular job? Do you study? Get involved in the chat. Any questions? Use the chat. That is what it's there for. I will be putting something new today, which is a poll. I'm going to put a poll here, and I'd like you to get involved in the poll if you can. But yeah, I'd like to hear from you. What's your name? Where are you from? Maybe what do you do? Something interesting about yourself. So here's a question as a poll. And all I'd want you to put is what you feel is the right answer to this poll. So let me write it down for you. So it's all about the English language. Of course it is. So what do you say more often in the English language? What do you say more often in English? I'll give you 2 words: film or movie. Which one do you use? Film or movie? And that's what you'd have to decide. Which one do you use? So is it film? Is it movie? Do you use both? Or you can even choose the option. It doesn't matter. Does it matter? That's the question. Does it matter? We'll look at that a little bit later. So here's a question for the community. Oh, so we have Mary Carmen, you put film. So I can see you put film. Thank you for your comment. So yeah, what do you say more often? Is it film? Is it movie? Or it doesn't matter? What's the difference between film and movie in your mind? Is there a difference? That's something I want you to have a think about. We will go back to this a little bit later on. So don't forget to get involved in the poll if you can. So as usual, I have a lovely English fact for you later on, but you're gonna have to wait for it, because if you've watched this before, you know the English fact is at the end. We don't start with the English fact, we finish with an English fact, because that's how I want you to end this session. I want you to think, oh, that's an interesting fact. Not at the beginning, right at the end. So we have an English fact coming. We have an Ask the Audience, as we normally do. And then we, of course, have object knowledge. Well, I'm going to show you an object, and I'd like you to tell me what that object is. Then we have Scratch Your Head, where I want you to tell me about your English vocabulary when it comes to 2 letters. So, for instance, last time, if I check it for you, we had TI last time, and this time we have PO. So start thinking about what words begin with PO. We're going to get to that a little bit later on. We also have something new, which is called Clever Riddles. Clever Riddles, which the idea is to get you thinking in English. If you can think in English and you can answer this, then your mind is definitely working the way it should in the language. So let's start with our object knowledge. And do you know the right object? So actually, I have to say the poll already have, it doesn't matter what you say more often, according to somebody. So that's fair enough. It doesn't matter to some if you use film or you use movie. So anyway, I'm going to grab the object I have here, and I want you to tell me what it is. Is it something we eat? Is it something we drink? Is it something that we play with? This is what it is. What is this object? Something that we carry. It can come in different colors. It can be plastic. It can be wood. I can put a piece of paper on this. What is this object? Use it for what? What do we use it for? That's what I want you to think about is what do we use this for? We can use it to put the paper on top. It doesn't have to be paper. It could be something else. You can even put a pen. You can even put a pen on the top here. If you want to put your pen there, again, very nice. You can put your pen at the top. But what do we use this for? I say it comes in plastic. It can be made of wood. What do you think it is? Do you have one at home? Right. Yes, so Micah has put some very good comments here. So a paper support, yeah, it does. It's not called a paper support, but you could probably say that, yeah, that's what it does, but it's not what it's called. And yeah, it means that you don't have to be without a table. So you can take this anywhere. You can take this outside. You can take this wherever you go. You have a support for your paper. So what we call this in English is known as a clipboard. Right at the top here. So there's a reason why we call it clipboard. It's not just a random word. The reason is we have here the clip. The clip is what we use to attach to anything that we put on this surface. So a clipboard. So the clip is what we use here at the top, and that's what we use to attach something to what is considered the board. So the board is the support that we use. So this is called a clipboard. And I said this is mainly used for people maybe who do work outside, or perhaps people who don't do work on a table. They don't do it on a hard surface. They have a clipboard to use instead. So your writing is not messy, and it makes it easy for you to write or to draw or to do whatever you need to do on the go, or maybe in my case, when I sit down marking students' writing. So yeah, that's a clipboard. And maybe you have one at home, maybe you don't have any use for a clipboard, but that's something to consider. So yeah, to take notes when you're moving from place to another. Exactly. Yeah, to take notes wherever you are. If you have a clipboard with you, it's not too accessible. You can't exactly put this in your pocket, can you? But what you can do is you can take notes when you're on the go, when you are moving. If that is on an airplane, you have one of those small tables, and on most public transport you have them. But if you feel that you need to take notes as you are moving, then that is what a clipboard is for, to give you support with what you're writing. So yes, do you have one at home? Do you not? Do you plan to get one? I said, for some people, a clipboard is not really necessary, but it can be really handy if you like taking notes, or if your job means that you're constantly on the move. So yeah, that's our object knowledge. So that is clipboard. You'll see that in the chat. And like I said, if it's one that you have at home, do put it in the chat. Or if you don't have one, why don't you have one? Maybe it's something that you never feel you need. So anyway, that's our object knowledge. Let's then move to our Ask the Audience. Actually, no, let's not move to our Ask the Audience. I'm going to move to what I like to call clever riddles. So this is where I'm going to give you time to think about a sentence, and I want you to consider what it is that I'm speaking about. So am I speaking about a house? Am I speaking about a glass? Am I speaking about a car? So I use these words for you to think about what it is, what object am I referring to. So this is what I'm going to put. I'm going to put it in the chat, and I'm also going to explain this to you as well. So, for example, I have a tail and I have a head, but I have no body. I'm not a snake. What am I? What am I? I have a tail and I have a head, but I have no body. I'm not a snake. So what am I? Right. So get involved in the chat. Have a think about it. I have a tail and I have a head, but I have no body. Not a snake. What am I? So I'm referring here to something, to an object, maybe an animal, maybe a place. So what is it I'm speaking about? I have a tail, I have a head, but I have no body. I'm not a snake. So that's one animal. That's one animal that it's not. Not a snake. Oh, and a tadpole. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. It's not a tadpole. Good, really good guess. Well done. Really good guess. It's not a tadpole. I'll give you a clue. This is something that we have in our, wherever you're from in the world, you use this. You use this. You probably put this in your wallet, or you maybe give to somebody for a service, maybe a waiter or a waitress. Or it could be anyone who does a service for you and you give them something for their service. Remember, it has a tail and a head, but no body. So have a think about it. I actually have one. I think I have one. I think I have one here. I do have one here. So we're going to go back to this a little bit later on, because I want to hear from other answers. Tadpole's a great answer, not quite the one that I'm looking for. So have a think about it. Whoever's joining the chat, whoever's joining the Q&A, welcome along. Get involved in the chat. Get involved in the question, in the riddle that I have there. So I have a tail, a head, and no body, but I'm not a snake. So what is it? I'm not a snake. I'm not a tadpole. So there you go. There's two that it is not. So have a think about it. I'm going to leave you with that one, and we're going to move to our Ask the Audience. So it's time for the audience to take center stage in this. I am going to ask you your wonderful, wonderful question for today. And it's all about something that we all have in our lives. We all have this in our lives, but we have this to different degrees. Some are really big, some are really small, but we all have them. I think you might know what I'm speaking about. Maybe you don't have a clue. But I'm going to tell you, it's all about responsibilities. We all have responsibilities. So tell me about different responsibilities that you have in your life, or what people have in their lives, and how important are these responsibilities. What responsibilities are considered important? Oh, we still have a go at the riddle. A spoon, not quite a spoon. So what has a head and a tail? But you're definitely thinking along the right line of maybe that sort of material. We're looking for a type of material that it might be made out of. Remember, we use this to give somebody for a service. So this could be something, this is usually something small. So yes, tell me about different responsibilities that people have. So different responsibilities, whatever they may be in your life or in other people's lives. So tell me about different responsibilities people have. So what type of responsibilities do you have every day? Or do your responsibilities change? Do you have a responsibility to go to work? Do you have a responsibility to look after your children? Do you have a responsibility to look after people? Or do you have a responsibility to pay the bills? What sort of responsibilities do you have, and what sort of responsibilities do people have, or any of your neighbors or your friends or your family have? That's what I'm very much looking for here. So I'll give you a bit of time to think about what responsibilities you have or responsibilities other people have. So this could be neighbors, friends, family members. This could be your friend, maybe, who you don't maybe see very often. What responsibility do you have? Why is this person so busy? Yes, that's a very good responsibility to have. Excellent. Yes, to do homework. Yeah, that's definitely a responsibility. If you are a student, that is an essential task to be able to do if you want to improve whatever subject it is. If it's in English, science, maths, or even in your own language. Good customer service at work. Yep, absolutely. That's a responsibility that you need to have. You need to be good at your job, be good at customer service. Maybe in many people's cases, housework. Okay, housework and homework both can be responsibilities. But yeah, housework is an excellent one. Again, because if you don't clean your house, who's going to clean it? It's just going to stay messy. It's going to stay untidy. So yeah, housework. It's not one that many people like to do, but it needs to be done. So yeah, that is a responsibility that we all have, unless you have a lot of money and you can hire somebody to clean your house, your flat, or whatever living arrangement you have. Okay, cool. We have the next one as well. So yeah, find a healthy diet for the whole family. That is an excellent one. Yeah, responsibility to feed your family, to give, to provide healthy food for them, healthy meals. Yeah, you can't just have pizza every night. We all love, or most people love pizza, and me included, but you can't have that all the time. You have to have the responsibility to think about what healthy meals you can have every day. Excellent comments coming in here. Good shopping. Yes, yeah, that's right. And also and the responsibility is good shopping wherever it is that you live. You need to be able to buy good shopping. If that is food shopping, or if that is clothes shopping, you need to make sure that you can provide for your family, you can provide for yourself. Again, who is going to do it for you? Who is going to buy your clothes? Who is going to buy your food? We have to take responsibility for these. So yeah, these are all excellent comments being made in the chat. So thank you very much for them. Keep them coming. So yes, I think the ones that have been given are great ones. You can also add to that if you have a pet. A dog, cat, hamster, a parrot maybe, or a parakeet, whatever animal it is, you have a responsibility to look after that animal. That animal maybe a cat can be a little bit more independent. However, a cat still needs to be fed. And the same, a dog needs to be fed. So these are really important responsibilities that we have to look after our pet. Oh, there you go. Brilliant. So, Okay, so Marikana is saying she has 3 cats, a lot. So that's a lot of responsibility. So Marikana, this is a direct question to you: is that, do you have a lot of responsibility in looking after your cats? Is it difficult, or is it quite easy to look after them? Yeah, and great inflation is mentioned here. That can also be something that can affect responsibility. So yeah, have a think about pets. Pets do need our care, our attention, and our love. They cannot live necessarily on their own. Like I said, some animals can, or some pets can, but dogs definitely can't. So what else comes to mind with responsibilities? What about work? Can you go to work at any time during the day? Can you wake up at any time and then go to work whenever you like? No, not many people can. So you have the responsibility to get up early. Okay, so I'm going to answer my question about cats and about the responsibility of having cats. So it's easy because I always take care of them. We live in a country. Okay, so that's perfect. So that's important. Then it's not just your responsibility, but other people also pitch in. Other people also help out, and that is really important, because sometimes responsibility is too much for one person. So to get more people involved definitely does help. And living in a country house, absolutely. That gives the cats great freedom to go wherever they like. So yeah, these are some excellent responsibilities that we have as people, as we have as citizens. But what about responsibilities that we have if we go on holiday? Think about that one. So open the health center every day, treat with people with problems. So yeah, that's a good one. So with work, yeah, need to open health center every day. Yeah, people need to be treated. The people who have health problems, people who are suffering with any illness or disease, they need assistance. They need help, and it's a nurse, a doctors, or general practitioner, GP. It's their responsibility to be there to help out. So we all have duties. Most of us have duties where we need to be somewhere at a particular time, because somebody out there is going to need our help, and especially if that is in a hospital, or that is in a doctor's surgery. Those are particularly critical, that people such as nurses and doctors are there. They have the responsibility to be there to help people who have disabilities or health problems. So yeah, these are all wonderful comments coming through. And yeah, think of other responsibilities. What other responsibilities do you have in your life? Okay, so we're going back to the holidays responsibility, and it's an excellent point on holidays. And yeah, you have to think about the environment, public transport, respect with other places, and the people you meet. All of them are big responsibilities you have to take into account. You can't just buy a plane ticket, get on a plane, and land there. You need to make sure that you have the right documentation. Do you need a visa when you arrive there? Do you have the right clothes? Do you need any vaccinations before you go? What about money? How much money do you need to bring? So all of this, again, comes down to responsibility. You need to take care of these things. Unless you go for an all-inclusive holiday, then there's a little bit less to worry about. But if you want to go to a country you've never been to before, and you want to explore it, then you need to make sure that you are organized and that you plan it properly. And of course, everything that is written here by Marikana is absolutely right. I couldn't agree more with not just with that comment, but with many of the comments made. So what other responsibilities do we have? What about on a day-to-day basis? What's the sort of responsibility? So we have work, we have food, but what other ones do we have? And I'm glad that my client agrees with me. So yes, other responsibilities. So I said we have work, we could have children being a responsibility, or putting food on the table is a big responsibility. Booking a holiday is a responsibility. How to get to work. Whoever's on the if you have to commute and take the train, somebody has to be there to drive the train. You have to be there on time. That again is responsibility. We all have to take ownership of these decisions. We cannot shy away from them, and we need to be mature about this. We cannot just do whatever we like. We do need to arrive on time in the case of a train, but we also need to do the task that needs doing. Now, sometimes people are not going to do it for us, or many times people don't do it for us. Recycling. Yeah, recycling is a really good one. We all have the responsibility to take care of our rubbish, to recycle correctly. If that is to put in plastic in the bins, or that is to put cardboard in the bins, to separate it properly. We have a duty to do that, to protect our community, our environment from getting dirty, untidy, and messy. Recycling is crucial. If we all do that, we all just need to take a bit more responsibility, then there'll probably be less rubbish on the streets. Not waste food. Yeah, that's another one. So make sure that if you're cooking food for somebody, make sure that you don't give them loads of food. Because if you give them loads and loads of food and they don't eat it, where does that food go? Could sometimes go in the fridge, could go in the freezer. Other times it ends up in the bin. And that, again, is a huge, huge waste. And that's not something that anyone wants, because food costs money. And nowadays with inflation, as mentioned before, is just through the roof. Here in the UK, I don't know where Maricam is from, if she's from South America, Spain, Italy, Germany, wherever. But yeah, inflation is rising, and it's getting worse and worse. And make sure that you're responsible with the portions that you give as well. Absolutely fascinating conversation going on here with responsibilities, and it just shows how we need to take action, and we have to make sure that everything that we do for the purpose of helping ourselves, or maybe helping other people, but we cannot ignore it. We cannot ignore recycling. We cannot ignore our job, or we cannot ignore picking up our children and think someone else is going to do it, or who's going to cook dinner. You can't have a takeaway every night, can you? But even that takes responsibility. You have to take responsibility for your actions. So there are lots and lots of different responsibilities that we have. Going back to before about it being unfair. When it comes to the amount of food that is wasted, there are indeed people starving in this world, and we're not going to speak about what's currently going on in the east of Europe, in Ukraine, but especially in the continent of Africa. People are suffering, people are dying, and this isn't going to become into something political, and that governments need to get involved and provide more help and more aid. But yeah, we should definitely think twice about the food that we buy, and whether we are going to eat that food. We're not going to put that food in the bin. We have a responsibility to buy the food that we are going to put on the table, and we are going to eat and provide for our families, for our friends, for our colleagues, whoever they may be. So again, this is a really, really important one. need to take ownership, especially of something like this. So remember, get involved. I see a couple of people have joined us. Welcome along. And yeah, don't be shy. Remember, we're looking at, tell me about different responsibilities that people have, or responsibilities that you have. We've covered quite a few already, but yeah, think about what you do every day. What responsibilities do you have when you go to work? When you go to work, what do you need to do in your job? How important is it that you do that job? Can someone else do it for you? So again, all of these are really, really important. All right, well, we have a couple of comments that just came in. So we had we'll move away from the ask the audience, because I can see that somebody has come in with a question, and of course this is a Q&A, so of course I want questions to come in, and we'll just finish off with Michael's last one, which is about being a respectful driver. You have a responsibility to drive well, to drive safely when you're on the road with other road users. Couldn't agree with you more there. So we have a comment here of a question: the difference between who and whom. So whom is when we are speaking about the object case of who. So, for example, from whom did you learn it from? So we are speaking then about the objective case of when we use who. So when we use who, I'm going to write this for you as well in our chat, because everyone can learn from this fantastic question, is that when we use who, we say what or which person or persons. So what or which person or persons. So who am I? Who are you? But when we are speaking about whom, we are referring to the objective case of who. So I'll just write this again here for you, because again, this is all for your benefit here to use these words correctly. This is an excellent question, like I said before. So yeah, the objective case of who. So who is also used is often used in the objective. So when we use the objective of the answer. Yeah, so for example, yeah, we've got a good example there. Who bought the house? Who bought the house is a good example, because we are speaking about the person who bought it. So that's an excellent example there. Or who asked the question? Who did this? So those are some ones that you can use. Right, let me put this one as an example as well. So when we use whom did he marry? We're speaking about the objective case of the question, whom did he marry? Okay, so that's one that I said we can use. Like I said, I'll try to find a couple of other examples for you here as well. Oh, thanks, you're amazing. I love that. That's probably one of the best comments today. Definitely, you are welcome. That's what the Q&A is all about. So I'm not going to ignore this comment, because this comment came in from Miguel Angel Garcia, I think it is. I'm not sure. But just before we get to his comment, so my sister married the man whom she really loved. Exactly. Brilliant sentence, Mary Carmen. Yeah, excellent cooperation today, interaction in the chat. Thank you so much for everything you've written so far and commented on. So let's look at Miguel, what he has to say. Call me Mr. Scott. Oh, look at that. I already feel privileged. Big fan. Great to hear. Michael from Italy. I'd like to know the difference between handle, manage, and deal with. Well, that is a question that I've had before from a student. And when he asked me that question, to be honest, when he asked me it, it took me ages to answer it. But I will try to go through this as best I can so you can handle a situation, you can deal with a situation, you can cope with a situation. So many times these three words can actually be used in the same context. But there are occasions when they can be used differently. So I had to deal with this situation, or I had to cope with this situation, or handle this situation. All of these would have the same meaning, that you are able to do what you need to do in this situation. You're able to do what you feel is right. You can deal with it, you can cope with it, you can handle it. Now, like I said, there are differences between them, and that's why this is such a brilliant question to ask. We don't really have all the time that we would need to answer this. It's a shame, Miguel, that you did not, or Michael, a bit confused if you're a Miguel or you're a Michael, but whichever your name is, we won't have enough time to go through all the details, but remember this, that when we use deal with, cope with, and handle, we tend to use these words very similarly. So if there is any doubt about how to use it, remember, put in the comment section as well in this video afterwards any examples you're not so sure of, and I'll happily explain it to you. So that's something to think about next time you use deal with, cope with, or handle. Do you think I handled this question well? Do you think I dealt with this question well? Do you think I coped with this question well? Again, you could probably use all three of these words here. Brilliant question, like I said, Michael from Italy. Appreciate your question. Remember, any other questions? We get a bit carried away in our Q&As and we do lose track of the time. And of course, the fact that it is a question and answer session. So remember, any doubts that you have, remember to write in the chat. And a great one about who and whom, and just now about cope, handle, and deal with. Right, I just want to see the polls. We're getting close to the end of the session. So people have gone with the majority of film, and then we have one that doesn't matter. So thanks for people taking part in the poll. That will be running right till the end of the Q&A today. So you might be thinking, what else is there for us to do? Well, it is time to do scratch your head, but we don't have much time for it. So what I'd like you to think about are words beginning with Miguel Angel likes my answer, so I appreciate his response in what he told me. So thank you very much for your comment. Miguel, keep on watching and supporting the channel. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. So yes, looking for words beginning with P-O. That's what we're looking for. 5 words beginning with P-O. Okay. Mary Carmen has not forgotten about the riddle that we started a little bit earlier on. Don't worry, we will get to that after we've gone through these words. I haven't forgotten about it. We haven't forgotten about it. We will go back to that. I will give you longer. So yes, for people who've just joined. So Miguel, if you are still there, think about this riddle. This riddle, I have a tail, I have a head, but I have no body. I'm not a snake. So what is it? What is it that is being referred to? Okay, have a think about it. Yeah, so have a think about that. Miguel, what is the riddle? What is being referred to? So just going to give you a couple of words. So a couple of words that begin with P-O. Oh, got some great ones coming in. Brilliant, brilliant. So we have pour, as in to pour a glass of wine. Poverty. Yes, so countries can be stricken with poverty. Cities, towns can be stricken with poverty. People can be stricken with poverty. Poetry. Yes, yes, lots of famous poetry is there. Is the noun to speak about the art. Poet or a poet is the person. Yeah, great words there. All those words begin with P-O. I'll put in a couple that I have as well, just to add to, oh, brilliant word, posh. Postpone, fantastic, fantastic words. Yes, posh. Someone who feels that they are maybe a little bit above other people because of maybe their upbringing or their background. That might be because of how they speak. That they might speak rather poshly, or it could very much be how a person treats other people. Postpone, yeah, another excellent word as well. To delay, so to postpone a lesson, to postpone a football match, for instance. Okay, so I'm put a couple of words, and then we're going to go to our clever riddle and see if you can crack it. Pool, brilliant word. Thanks for getting involved. Yes, pool is a great one. Yes, like a swimming pool. Some people are fortunate to have their own swimming pool. I wish I had my own. Pottery, fantastic word. Tremendous. Yes, pottery. You could have some of that in your house, or you could even see some of that on the streets. Pottery was the last one. Actually picked a lot of the ones I already have. To be honest, I am going to put one in there and just put the word pond. Anyone know? Does anyone know the word pond? Has anyone heard of a pond before? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. I'm going to go over time today, so we're going to have a slightly longer Q&A session. We've had so much wonderful interaction today from everyone. Really do appreciate you taking the time for it this afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are. Right, if you're not quite sure on a pond then, so a pond is an area full of water that fish tend to live in. Okay, we have Michael is still trying to figure out the clever riddle. Don't worry, Michael, we are almost there. We're going to get to it. So yes, pond is a small lake that fish live in. And you could also find ducks. You might find ducks sitting on the water. So similar, it's very similar to a lake, but a pond is much smaller. Post, yes, fantastic word. Well done. Yes, post. Yes, to post a letter. Okay, we have somebody else joining as well. Hello. You come right at the end, but Thank you for joining anyway. Right then, so you don't have to wait any longer. Here is the riddle. So remember, tail, head, no body. I'm not a snake. I can show you exactly what it is. Something that we use when somebody does a service for us. And we give them something like this. We have a head. And then on the other side, okay, we have a rabbit on this one. But this would be the tail. So we have heads and we have tails. So our riddle is not an animal, it's a coin. It is a coin. It's not a snake, it's not an animal. It is a coin. And Sharif from India, welcome along. Thank you for joining so late in the Q&A. But yes, thank you very much for your comment. Great to see you getting involved in the chat. A poltergeist, that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, Miguel was going for an animal. Yes, it can be a bit confusing now because you can think of an animal because you think of the tail. Think of the tail, but you go, oh, what sort of animal is it? It's unfortunately, not an animal. It is indeed a coin. So that is our riddle. There will be a riddle in the next one that we do, which will be in the 9th Q&A. But don't worry, that will be coming soon. I haven't finished. We're going to go a little bit over time because we have our fact. And of course, our English fact is what you come along for. You want to know something new about England. So maybe some of you have lived in England before. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you intend to live in England in the future. And so in the case of all these comments coming through, somebody's just asked me, where am I from? I'm from Bournemouth. I'm from Bournemouth in the south of England. So yes, so if you're intending to live in England in the future, or if you have lived in England in the future, you need to research where you're going to live. So our fact for today is about what is the cheapest place to live in the UK. What do you think? What is the cheapest place to live in the UK? Which place costs the least amount of money? Now, these are statistics. So you can find slightly different answers if you go onto different websites, but I have found that the majority point in the direction of this place. Wales, good answer. Good answer with Wales. It's not quite Wales. It's not quite Wales. It's not the one that I have here. We need to go much further north. Much further north, almost Scotland. Yes, someplace in the north. Very common. You're spot on. Yeah, it is someplace in the north. And Bournemouth, yeah, is a very nice place. Again, I do recommend coming to Bournemouth. Has a beautiful beach, some lovely hotels, and of course, some marvelous people, such as myself. And the place that it is Miguel. Well done. I didn't quite have to put it. He put Newcastle. Now, it's not exactly Newcastle. It is known as a county called County Durham, which is very, very close to Newcastle, which is one of the major cities close to Scotland, right on the border between Scotland and England. You find Newcastle, and close to Newcastle, which is the big city, you find a place called County Durham, which is the cheapest place to live. You could buy a house there for £100,000. You can find a house there for £100,000. Not a flat, but a house for £100,000. It's known to be the cheapest place, but of course, this is always changing. So currently, it's the cheapest area to live. It's a place where quite a few people go to university. It's a cheap place to live if you go to university there. York, good. Yeah, not far off with York. London's the richest. Well, actually, if you came to one of the previous Q&As, you know that it's actually not London. Actually is another city, but London is very close to being at the top. You want to live in Scotland, be there ASAP. Well, Scotland is waiting for you, so by all means, go to Scotland. It has sensational countryside. It's so picturesque. You'll find the hills, fields, absolutely spectacular. So it's a country I definitely recommend. Emma Cohen, you said Bradford. So yeah, that you need to go a little bit further east where you find County Durham, where you'll be paying about £650 a month for rent, which in this case is quite cheap. So anyway, that is our fun fact. The cheapest place to live currently is County Durham, which is close to Newcastle, and it is also considered to be one of the coldest parts of the country. So do take that into account. I think as you say about Outlander on Netflix, there are many documentaries, series, films that do showcase marvelous countryside in Scotland. It's a country I definitely recommend visiting. If you do go to Scotland, though, make sure you take a hat, make sure you take a coat and some gloves, because those are essential. Right, I think we're just about out of time. Thank you so much, everyone, for getting involved in the chat. Mary Carmen, you interacted the most out of everyone there, so thank you so much for getting involved in everything that we covered today. Really do appreciate that. We had some latecomers as well. Miguel Merche, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, apologies if it's wrong, and Sharif from India. Thank you so much for coming along as well. Hopefully you can all make it to the next Q&A, which will be number 9, and that will be at the end, or could be at the beginning. Will be at the beginning of May will be the next one. So I hope that you can make it to the next one that we have. And it will be around the same time. I think this is a good time for people. Hopefully it's a good time for people to join. And people are not working, or even if they are working, you're spending your time well in this Q&A. So thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you, or to hearing from you, is better said, in the next Q&A. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great Easter as well, because Easter is coming. Wherever your plans are, have a great one. And I'll see you all next month for the 9th Q&A. We'll just do a quick review of the poll. So 50% of people have said that film is the one they say more often, 25% for movie, 25% said it doesn't matter. Thanks once again, everyone. I'll see you very soon in about a month's time. Take care, everyone. Bye. Adios.